What is going on, guys? It's Brian with Oneset.com, and welcome to part 3 of the squat series. In this portion, we'll be talking about assistance exercises and how to use them to troubleshoot your squat. Now, I'm not saying these are the end-all be-all, but I am saying that these are what helped me get my squat to where it is. I would encourage you, if you have not checked out parts 1 and 2, you should do so now, because if you don't have the basics down, assistance stuff really doesn't matter. Technique is king, and make sure that's set before you move on. Gotta crawl before you walk, fellas. Number 1 talks about a couple cues for your squat, and number 2 is all about fixing your setup. So the first part of this video, I'll actually be going through and showing you the different accessory exercises that I think work best for fixing your squat. In the second part of the video, I will be addressing 3 main problems that happen in the squat and what exercise to use to fix them. So let's go. So the first group of exercises I want to talk about is going to be dealing with your core and how to stay upright. And for building up those 2 objectives, I can't think of a much better exercise than front squats. A couple main points that you're going to want to consider are, number 1, bar position. You're going to want that bar slammed up against your throat as uncomfortable as possible, and you're going to want to push your knees out so you can stay more upright. You go forward at all, you're going to lose the bar. I showed you the regular front squat version at first, and this is a paused version. I recommend 3-second pauses to as high up as a 6-second pause. The second exercise I want to talk about is the plate loaded reverse hyper. Now you can do these a couple different ways. The first one being without momentum to build your lower back, your hamstrings, and your hips. And the other way is with momentum, where you actually let the weight swing a little further out in front, and that's going to do a lot to help you decompress your spine. They're a great exercise for building up your core and making your squat go up. The third exercise I want to talk about is the good morning, and there is a lot of dispute whether these are safe for you or not. All that I would tell you is go light, don't let your ego get in the way, keep your reps high, and do not allow any lower lumbar flexion. So you push your butt back to get the bar down. The bar should stay over the middle to the front quarter of your foot, and then come back up and flex your butt in between. Done correctly, they can help your squat a ton. This brings us to the hips and hamstrings. What you're seeing right here is a glute ham raise, which is widely considered the pull-up for the lower body, and honestly, you cannot do them enough. You could hit them multiple times a week, either like this, or with a band around your neck tied off to the bottom so that they provide a little bit more resistance. They're an awesome exercise for bringing up your squat. If your gym does not have a glute ham raise, you can just wedge your legs underneath something in your gym. You may need to be a little bit creative here. But as you see, I have them underneath the power rack, and you could do virtually the same thing and give yourself a little push-up, then finish the movement with your hamstrings. Next on the list is belt squats. So this is a really good way to get more work in your legs without having to load your spine anymore by having a barbell on your back. You just take a dip belt, or I just have a chain right here, you load some weight on it, you get on something elevated, and then you drop down. You can get extra deep, great for working your hips and power out of the hole. The next group is the quads. So we're going to start out with Bulgarian split squats, which they're referred to by a bunch of different names, but this is what I know them as, so that's what I refer to them as. All you need to do is find some way to elevate that back leg a little bit, and then you're doing a single leg squat. These are great for your quads, but also will make your butt more sore than any other exercise. Assistance 9 is walking lunges. I like the barbell version better than dumbbell or kettlebell, but you do what you can. Biggest thing to focus on here is once you've stepped, keep the movement vertical, straight up and down. Do not use forward momentum or let your chest drop forward, because that's going to take pressure off your legs and it gets a little more dicey on you. On to the final 2 exercises, which will actually work your soul, and that is the yoke carry. Nothing has done more for my squat than yoke carries. Between the supermax loading on your spine, it makes the bar feel lighter, and then as you see here, this is a Zercher yoke carry, which builds up your posterior chain like nothing else but feels like death. So as promised, here I am talking about 3 basic problems with the squat. These may seem very elementary, but about 99% of the squat problems can be wrapped into this. Problem number 1 is that you're slow out of the hole. You drop down, hip parallel, you reverse the motion, come up about 2-3 inches, bar goes right back down. If this describes you, I think the number 1 cure is pause squats. If your breathing and bracing is off, or you have any technical issues, these will bring them right out of you. And I'm not talking about the majority of pause squats that you see on the internet where it might not be a pause or it's undistinguishable. And in defense of those people, it probably felt like they were down there for an hour. But guys, this is why you always videotape your sets make sure you're actually doing a pause, but this exercise will help you. It's not really an assistance exercise though, more of a variation. Either way, do them, they'll help. Also, if you're having problems with speed out of the hole, it could be your glutes, it could be your hamstrings. So I'd recommend some belt squats, some glute ham raises, things like that. Problem number 2 on the squat is when the bar comes forward, you bend too far, you can't hold on to it, and it falls back down. This is probably the most common problem that I see. Now, a lot of that could go back to technique issues. If that is the case, go watch the squat series part 1, that'll help you out. But some assistance exercises that will definitely help with that problem are front squats and the pause front squat. Simply because you need to stay so straight up as well as driving your knees out, and you need a good brace. If you can get good at doing front squats, your back squat will go up. The closer you can mimic that movement, the better off you're gonna be. Good mornings are a huge solve for this problem. They're a little bit dicey, but if you do them correctly, they are an excellent, excellent way to build lower back and hamstring strength. Just make sure you check your ego at the door so that you do higher reps with a lower weight. Don't be doing sets of 1, 2, 3 rep maximums on the good morning. You're probably gonna hurt yourself doing that. To go along with that is the reverse hyper. Having a strong butt, hamstrings, and lower back are awesome attributes to squatting. The reverse hyper is a great way to do that, along with decompressing your spine. Third common problem I see, which isn't as common, is when people miss a squat 3/4 way up. This is almost always due to weak quads or weak bracing. Most time you would have messed it up before that with either falling forward or doing something else dumb. Don't do that. I already said front squats, but front squats are going to be very important for your quads, obviously. But if that is the case, I would recommend doing some unilateral leg work with either Bulgarian split squats or some walking lunges. I like the barbell the best. I think it provides the most carryover, but you do what you can. The final mistake that I see people make, this one's a bonus mistakes, is that they just give up too soon on the squat. They start grinding, they give up, bar goes right back down. If this describes you, lose my number. To fix this and build overall awesomeness, I would tell you to do yoke walks, and if you really hate yourself, do Zercher yoke carries. You gotta get past it, you gotta keep pushing. So what if you're grinding and the rep slows down? That doesn't mean that you missed it, you just need to keep going. All right guys, so that was part 3 of the squat series. Really appreciate you guys watching and staying with me. Hopefully you can apply some of these tips to make your squat better. If you watch this video and you haven't seen part 1 or 2, go back and watch them. You will get much more out of that than you will out of this. If you don't have the technique down, none of this is gonna matter. You can be the strongest guy in the world, and eventually, technique will bury you. You can get pretty far just being strong though. But thank you very much for watching the video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Keep working hard, go out and practice your squats. Until then, I'll catch up with you next time.